Okay, so I marked up the drawings by hand, but I'm gonna also mark them up in PDF. But before I send them all to you, I wanted to do this video so I can go over each and everything, so that way I could show you exactly what all the edits we need to make and how we could, make our drawings look better so they could get off our backs. So the first one is right, this XPR here. That should just be booster panel or BPS. We're going to remove this 4100 ES because that's all referring to like simplex. So when we put BPS, all we're going to identify this as is a booster. As I'm doing the video, I'll make the changes. So we're going to change that to BPS. And here, all we have to do is name it booster power supply. The model number for this here is going to be, that's the model number for that. So now when it comes to the wiring, you see here B and P referring to this, right? This right here is going to be for all the outputs, the NACs, the horns and strobe. This right here is going to be the communication for the remote annunciator. And also the remote annunciator could take this wire, but we're just going to name it power and then just put this same information down here for power. We don't need ID net like K and these two, like right here. Let me see. Let me highlight that. K and M, we could remove those. You could keep the relays and you could remove the zones. Like this, we don't need this. This we don't need. That's going to identify the 24 volts going to the relays. The relays, instead of P, we're going to use R. We're going to remove this and we're going to use this for the 14 wire. So we're going to remove this. And then we're going to remove all of the THHN. We're not using THHN on this project here. The THHN gets removed. We're not using none of that. So the only cables we should be using is the 16. The addressable is going to be for all the pull stations, the heat detectors, the smoke detectors, the relays. So everything on the right side, the tamper switches, that's what the addressable is going to be. And we could change that to data. So we could change that to data. We could, this RUI plus, we could change that to, see, this whole thing right here should be remote annunciator communication. Remote annunciator communication. Notification, power. Oh, yeah, that's right. So power is going to be for, no, we're going to leave power. Power is going to be for remote annunciator power. So forget what I said about the power earlier. This is going to be named for the remote annunciator power. But the ID net, the remote test switch and the zone, get rid of. The relay, we could also keep, but put that information for the 14 wires, same as the power. These pull stations here, like M's, these M's, is going to be changed to A. That's going to be the A wire for data. All of this is, all the input, the initiating devices, the modules, is all going to be A wire. All of this is going to be A wire. And then when you get down to the relay, you're going to change this to addressable control relay, and the model is CRF 300. Remove this, change this to single input module. Remove this. There are no COs. There are no smoke COs. Also remove this. So we only have fire alarm control panel, a remote annunciator, pull stations, smoke detectors, heat detectors, some modules, and also some output devices. Now, all right, so no, instead of removing this one, change this to a control module, because we will have to wire this up in series with the relay module in order to connect anything high voltage. We can't connect anything high voltage directly to a fire alarm control relay. So we have to use two relays, and I'll give you the wiring diagram to show you how you wire up these two relays so that way they can know how to wire it up. And the model number for this relay is going to be, not that one, it's going to be MR101. Each relay is going to also have an MR101 accompanied with it. I don't know if they have different symbols, but if we could change these symbols, that'd be great. They usually are square, and inside of it for the module would just be MM, and for the addressable relay is usually just R, and for the control module is usually just CM or CR rather, excuse me. So you go CR for control relay. And if they have square symbols, that would look better. I didn't get to the boxes yet, so let me finish the output. On the output side, we only have ceiling mounted horn strobes and ceiling mounted strobes. So the strobes can stay, but this is going to have to say, these are not addressable. These are just going to be LED strobe, ceiling mounted red fire ceiling lens. That's all it's going to say. And for this one, you can remove this one. Everything is ceiling mounted. So this one here, remove this one. This whole thing remove. This one here, remove addressable. And this is just ceiling mounted, horn strobe with all that other stuff on it. And usually for ceiling mounted horn strobe, the depiction is a circle. But if we don't have that, then it's all good. And then we just remove this one here. So we should only have one for the strobe and one for the horn strobes, everything mounted on the ceiling. The model numbers is good. And the wire for the strobes will not be A, they will be C. This is all C wire. But the relay will get a wire and the R wire for to depict the relay. And the remote annunciator will get a B wire and a P wire. Yeah, just like how this is a B wire and a P wire. So that's fine. Tamper switches, these are going to get A wires because the module is what's connecting to that. Actually, yeah, put it as an A wire for both the tamper switch and water flow. Now, when we get down to here, I'm not sure if we could add like a mud ring into this to mount the pole stations. I'll show you a depiction of what that would look like, with a pole station mud ring and onto a regular 1900 box, 2.5 regular size single gang box. But let's see if we can add mud ring. Also, 4-inch round box for the smoke detectors for the smokes and heat. All right, so when it comes to the box code, the remote annunciators, actually, we could put a deep 1900 box for the remote annunciator. So the orange and strobe are all going to be 1Fs. These are going to be 1Fs. So change this to 1F. These are 1Fs. All of these, the horns and strobes and even the strobes are all going to just be 1Fs. The modules and the relays are going to be 4Gs. These are going to be 4Gs. The smokes and the heat, we have to add 4-inch round electrical box. These are for the smoke and heat. And the remote annunciator is going to be 4G. So that should take care of all of that. The pull station is going to be 1F with a flat mud ring. That'll be for the pull stations only. Down here, this stuff is good. We're just gonna have booster power supply. We're just gonna put data loop. This is just gonna be horn strobe circuit. Remove this. There's no zones for this. Remove this. This is just data. Or just remove IDC NAC and just leave it as branch NAC circuit. Remove enhance. This is just a regular power supply. And these last two, actually this one, and remove this one. Just remove this whole thing. Now over here, this right here on this side, this whole left side is for the input devices. And this right side on up here top is for the output devices. So since this is an output and we have it named right here, because these actions is what's going to activate this relay more or less. So here is where we would have to put that information. We could remove this so that way we could bring this box back up and then start from 9 down. Now, I know it's a lot of tedious work, and I really appreciate you guys for even doing this, man. They got 4 more jobs for us, and we just didn't understand exactly what they were looking for, so it's not like we couldn't do what they were asking for. It's just that we were just on a different page of the book. So now that when we detail out these drawings and send it back to them, it's going to be a lot more presentable. They're going to like it more. And they got 4 more train stations on top of it. So we potentially could make a lot more money on this particular project for these guys and whatnot. So I think that's the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing. This pretty much, I didn't read the notes, but that should all be generic. All right, so here, that is that. So now the next set of drawings. Here, I marked up all of the locations for the booster panel. The booster panel is pretty much going to serve all of these devices, so we have to renumber these, and I'll show you what the riser diagram look like after we go through all of this. So pretty much we're just going to have to renumber and renumber the way I laid out the horns and strobe, and I'll show you the one-line diagram, the example they gave us, and also the example that I did, so that way you can see how it's all laid out. So you'll see those pages there. So these pages just have to make some label changes. And is there any possible way, just asking, to make these icons darker? You see this strobe here. Is that possible to get that darker? Then we have a pull station here. It may be missed. I'm just asking if it's possible to make those a little darker, these symbols, if that's possible. So the next page, same here. You'll see the layout that I did when I marked up all of the drawings, and I'll go over that as well too. I marked all of these up just to identify what booth is going to be serving what and how the horn strobe is going to be laid out according to the wire. What I didn't do was look at the conduit fill on these, but potentially in all areas is going to be one cable for data, one cable for data, one cable for the horn strobes. Then it's going to be one cable that's going to connect from the fire alarm control panel to the booster panel. And then there's going to be booster panel to interconnect the two booster panels. Then in the route or in the direction of the remote annunciator, that is the only location where it's going to get 4 wires, because 2 wires is going to go for the remote annunciator, which is the communication and also the 24-volt power. So 116, 114. And then it's going to be 116 that's going to run for the data for the smoke detectors in that area, heat detectors, whatever. And then the other 14 is going to be for the outputs, more or less the horns and strobes. Now, keep in mind, if there are any relays in that area, we would also need to either continue from the remote annunciator or pull a separate circuit for the 24 volts. You'll see what I'm talking about when I go over the drawings. More of the layout that I did, more of the layout. And what I did is I took another quick video of like how I assume the track is actually laid out, and you'll see that too. So just watch the whole thing before we start making tweaks, and call me directly if you have any questions. More changes here, more changes here. Hold on, let me go back up to here. The second booster panel I put in this closet right here. The second booster panel will be serving, the other platform going to the right. I don't know if it's east or west, I'm not sure, but as we go down the drawings, that's where those will be serving, like this side down this way, both circuits. So the drawings go down that way, and then we have another circuit that comes up this way. This is above. Once I show you the layout, you'll see how I did it. So here we just got to make some changes, and once we make the changes to the legend on the first page and also the alarm wireless, can we just copy and paste those for each of the pages so they're all identical, because we wasn't paying attention to detail. The one line diagram, this is good. So I don't want you to think that this is not right. This is absolutely right. However, this is only right when we're doing New York City fire alarm work, getting approval for the fire department. And this is when we're actually trying to get a system approved. They want a one line diagram. However, when we're installing the system, we have to potentially show the conduits, the amount of conduits running out of the panel. That's what I didn't understand, because when they was telling us that this wasn't right, I was confused as, what do you mean this is not right? But now I understand from a perspective of an installer, if we have 4 or 5 circuits, we need to show 4 or 5 circuits and whatever these circuits are actually serving. So that's all we would have to do. So I'll show you what that is in a second. So everything down here is pretty much good. So let's go over real quick on what I uploaded, and I'll go over this briefly. So here's just all the written changes that I did, but I'm gonna send you this, and also you'll have the one that I marked up in PDF, so it's a lot cleaner. So these are just all of the changes that we need to make. Remember, I said we'll remove this, and because it's an output, we already got that on that side. So down here, like this booster panel right here is gonna start at, this is gonna be booster panel number 1 starting at NAC 5. There's actually like 5 NACs on this, 5 or 6 NACs, but I'm using only 2 from this area. So this will be serving this platform here, NAC number 5, 1 through, I think 5, 1 through 6 or something like that. We'll see. So it's serving the rest of these platforms. The rest of these platforms is coming over this way from that same booster panel. And here is going to stop right here. This is going to be the last one. And it's going to be an end of line. And the end of line value is 4.7K. You'll see the one line diagram, how I written it out. Here's a CO detector. We got to remove that CO detector since we have heat detectors in here. That's fine. Or we could change the heat detectors to smoke detectors. We could actually do that. I didn't name that, but we should change these to smoke detectors instead of heat detectors, since there's going to be no boiler in here. So please change that to smoke detectors. Here, that room that I said, you'll see that comm room that I put the booster panel in. Now, this booster panel has 3 circuits, 10, 11, and 13. The first booster panel has 2 circuits, but we got to wait till we get to that other set of drawings so I can show you that last circuit. So this has 10, 11, and 13. So number 10, before I get to this one, I'm going to just explain this booster panel here. So number 10, 1, I would say, is going to be serving this platform to the right, and also all of these platforms here. And then the third NAC circuit, which is going to be NAC number 13, is going to continue off from this last pole. We're going to start from this pole here and continue all the way down over to the end of this platform. So this should be the end of this platform. So now that'll be for that NAC circuit, right? Let's go back up. That'll be for this NAC circuit. So that's NAC circuit 10 is going to start off and where this NAC circuit left off, and then pick up about 10 of them, and then the next circuit is going to pick up the other 10. Now, NAC circuit 11, they're going to have to run back through this conduit to come back up to get up to this canopy so they can run NAC 11 up here. 11 will be ran, they will run that back through the conduit. The conduit will probably come up through here somewhere from that overpass when they ran it back, because from one side, from platform to platform is from here, ran all the way over here is about 78 feet, according to my, estimate software. It's about 80 feet from here to here. So that should be fine, a fine run from there, because they got about 8,000 feet. So that wire is going to run all the way up over this side where elevator 1 is at. I guess this is the canopy. I'm really trying to get an idea of how this platform is laid out, and that's where I'm having my struggle. So when you watch the first video, you'll see that how I laid it out, assuming that this is how the track is going to be. So that will run up here, and then that would be the end of line would be the third device here. You'll see the one line diagram when I show you. Now, coming off the fire alarm control panel, this is the fire alarm control panel. It's going to serve all of these NACs just in this area right here, all the way up to number 10. So the first one starts all the way left, and the last one is all the way to the right, number 10. And that's all that's coming off the fire alarm control panel for the outputs. Everything else is coming off the booster panels. Now, going back to this booster panel here, this is going to run to this area here. This is where the top of elevator 3. So from the bottom of elevator 3, there's only going to be one device on that second NAC output. So on the first NAC output, I think whatever is like 10, but on that second one, it's just going to be just this one, just so you understand that. So now let's look at the one line. So here, this is the NAC outputs, right? So off the main fire alarm control panel in that one area is these 10 devices, right? So I couldn't put nothing else on this panel because it was too much power. So I had to add these 2 booster panels. So now off the first NAC output, which is going to be, this is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is going to be NAC 5, serving 10 devices. NAC 7, serving really just one device, because these, I will have to redo these numbers. But this is going to be 1. You can change these numbers in here. It's no big deal. That's what I'll do. I'll redo them. This is going to be 1. Now, when we come to the other booster panel, we're going to be using 10, 11, and 13. And that's going to be serving those other areas. So that's how that is configured out. So we could change these NAC output labels. Well, I guess I would have to do that. And then you copy and paste it. For each one of these relays here, that's circled, we're going to have to add another square box that's going to be the CR. That's going to be the control module. So we're going to have a relay and a control module. Like I said, we can't connect anything high voltage to the fire alarm control, any one of these modules. And I don't know if they have high voltage or low voltage. So, I'm going to just keep it standard with using the 2 relays. That's why we're going to have to run 24 volts and data to these guys here. Just these guys. And these guys here is the one I circled. So now, the nitty gritty. And I hope you understand this. This is the typical one-line diagram that I tried to create by freehand, if you could see it. So we have the fire alarm control panel that has NAC 1 and is going to serve, like I said, all of those devices just in that area using a C wire. And then we got to show the end of line resistor at 4.7K at half watt. The easy stuff is all the right side. That's all the data stuff. But we got to show, just for the relays, a wire and a P wire. So we could identify that the 16 for data and the 14 for power have to go in those locations. All the other devices is just going to be the P or the A wire for data, like the smokes, the heats, and the pulse stations. That side should be easy enough. So how we got to show it is we have a line break that's going to connect to the first booster panel. Now, booster panel 1 has circuits 5 and 7, like I showed you before, and 5 is connected to all of these devices. And 7 is just that one device like I showed before above elevator number 3. Then this booster panel is going to connect to this booster panel, and it's going to be supervised as well with a 4.7K resistor. So coming off circuit 10 will be these devices. And I tried to name let me keep going. So circuit number 10 is these devices here. Circuit number 11 is these devices here. And circuit number 13 are these devices here. I tried to give you the C pole number, so that way we could rewrite this and identify them exactly how they want it. Also, we have to name that it's a C wire coming off this because it's a 14 wire serving these devices. So now the areas, like I said, I'm not sure of the areas. So what I gave you was the drawing platform plan numbers. So this is like platform, end of that last device on 4. Well, it'll be here, that last device on 4. going through plan that next device on plan number 5. So that's pretty much how I did it, like platform 2 to 4. So the first device and all the way to the last device. So essentially, either we would have to find out what those areas are actually called or just name it exactly like how this is named here. So I know it's a lot of work, and this is for Parkchester, but they're saying we 4 months behind, and I really, 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 really would appreciate if you could just put a lot more, like just get this done as quickly as possible. This will get us paid within this month. We can get this done as quickly as possible. We can get paid this month. And I really want to get paid this month. And I know you guys do too. So, like I said, if you got any questions, just call me directly. All right.